Geraldo Rivera. He's live for us in Caguas, which is about 15 miles south of San Juan, Puerto Rico. And Geraldo, you and I spoke 24 hours ago. In that time, has there been any improvement in getting the goods and supplies to the inland areas?
There has been some improvement, Trace, but if I can just reference the president's remarks, I think that people are looking for good guys or bad guys. They're looking to place blame, and the partisans of the left are blaming Trump. The partisans of the right are blaming the incompetent Puerto Rican government. I think that the reality, and the president, I don't disagree with anything he said regarding Puerto Rico. The persons, or the two people most to blame, are Irma and Maria, the two historic, devastating hurricanes that hit this island within a period of 2 weeks and really knocked it to its knees. The devastation, as the president accurately portrayed, is really stem to stern, east to west, north to south. I don't think there's a person in the 3.4 million residents of this island who has been left unaffected. The south side, where the government of Puerto Rico has not yet made their surveys or have brought direct assistance, is still devastated. Roads blocked everywhere. And if you need to place blame at all, I think it's on the failure of the electrical power system, the electrical grid. You know, I was here September a year ago where the electric power grid went out for 3 days just because of a fire in a single power plant. Irma knocked out 70% of the power grid that was not yet restored when Maria came and knocked out the rest of it. That's why they can't pump the gas out of the ground. That's why they can't pump the water out of the ground. That's why they can't run elevators or air conditioning. That's why hospitals are relying on emergency generators. There is no power. The bankrupt, and the president referred to this, Trace, directly, the bankrupt Puerto Rico Electric Power Authority, PREVA, they are bankrupt. They are $6 billion in debt. They are responsible for poor maintenance and an antiquated system, a system where of the 16,000 miles of electrical cables and poles on this island, there are outages on every single block. It's going to take hundreds and hundreds of polemen, linemen to put telephone poles in, to string it up. That's why there's no cell phone service. That's why there's no internet. That's why the panic has been gripping the Puerto Rican people. But I think that the president is doing the right thing, and he is right. And this is where the rubber meets the road, Trace, because remember that Power Authority, $6 billion in debt and bankrupt. How much is the United States willing to pay to help the Puerto Rican people stay away from sliding into the third world? Right now, Puerto Rico is in the dark ages. It's going to take something of the scale of the Marshall Plan that rebuilt Europe after the chaos and the ashes and the destruction of World War II. I say, call it the Trump Plan, not the Marshall Plan. Call it the Trump Plan if that's what it takes. He built these impressive buildings and the other assets and the hotels and so forth. If the president is committed to raising multi-billions of dollars to rebuild junk, this junk that's been used in this improvisational basis to string electric power from town to town, there is absolutely nothing wrong with the power plants. That's the bitter irony, Trace. The power plants are fine. They sustained only minor damage. It is the grid, it is the power cables themselves, the lines themselves that had not and could not and never could withstand 150 mile, 160 mile, 170 mile an hour winds, Trace.
Yeah, and a key to this whole thing, Geraldo, is exactly who is going to pay for what down there. Great work down there in San Juan, Puerto Rico. Geraldo Rivera, live on scene. Thank you. Coming